Because of that opportunity and how blessed we were as refugees from the war, this entire nonprofit that I started was a reason to give back.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our next episode of Course Creation Show. My name is Iman Aghay, the founder of Success Road Academy and your host of Course Creation Show. And I am super excited about having my next guest, Dr. Dung Trinh. And Dung and I have been working together for the past couple of years, I think. Actually, it's been for more than that, but like past couple of years more closely. And I am so impressed by how he is so giving and so open and so sharing, and how he creates success out of giving value and giving like out of kind heart and giving value, really. So I can't wait for having him here on the show. And Dr. Dung, how are things going, man? How are you doing?
Good. I'm sitting in my office at Irvine Clinical Research in Irvine, California, and so definitely fun hanging out with you guys today in the middle of this pandemic.
Yes, absolutely. And first, before we go any further, I want to thank you and all of our essential workers for all the work that you do. I've seen the pictures of you being gold covered up and masked up and like everything in the hospital, in the sections that there are with COVID patients. And I just want to say thank you for all the work that you do and all the hard work that you're putting your life and everything in your family at risk to serve people and support them.
Thank you. It's definitely my mission and my calling, and definitely been blessed to be part of this family here with you and with all the lead members and all that. It's been a great journey that we've been on the last few years.
Amazing, man.
Yeah.
Amazing. Awesome. So let's begin with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I wear multiple hats. So I'm a medical missionary. I run a nonprofit organization that has a funny name. It's called Tongue Out, like sticking your tongue out. And every year, except for this year with coronavirus, but every year we take teams of doctors and nurses and dentists and high schoolers and college students to different parts of the world, and we do medical missions. So we're in Vietnam, we're in Haiti, we're in Peru, we're in Oaxaca, Mexico on a yearly basis. This year, we've obviously are not traveling, so we're doing a lot of local stuff in Orange County, California, buying masks and donating masks and things of that sort. But beyond the missions work I do, I'm a health educator. I do a lot of health education. Last year, I was on 200 platforms or more. This year, I've converted all those platforms online, and I speak weekly now on Zoom to educate folks and give them updates about coronavirus and about all different types of health issues, and lots of Zoom lectures and lots of Facebook Live lectures as well with that. Oh, I see Irma on. She says she's participated in the trust course. Hey guys, there are folks on here who's actually been in my course actually that I guess we're going to talk about that is going, we're going to discuss. But I do a lot of health education. I run a number of businesses. I'm an entrepreneur. I do clinical trials as a business. I work for Memorial Care. I sell stuff on Amazon, nose rings and different things to fund the missions work that I do. And so a few of the hats I wear, but my passion is really health education. That's my passion. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you do an amazing job in that. You really do an amazing job in that. So let's talk about the talk about like how you chose like What's your story? What's the story that you made you so passionate, so kind of active to work on people's health and giving back to them?
It can be a long story, but I'll shorten it for you guys. My story was that do you guys remember the Vietnam War? Does anyone on Facebook remember the Vietnam War? If you do, type in yes if you remember the Vietnam War. I don't know if folks are old enough for that or if you're too young with that. Oh, Michelle. Okay, a whole bunch of you guys know about the Vietnam War. And Bud was in it. Oh my gosh. So the Vietnam War, Flora protested it. Dr. Donna, my husband, was a soldier there. Wow, thank you for his service, Donna. The Vietnam War ended in 1975 on April 30th. April 30th, 1975 was when the Vietnam War ended. I was 5 years old at the time. So I'm older than you, Iman, with that. And so I was 5 years old at the time. And on April 29th, the day before the end of the war, on April 29th, I remember being at the airport in Saigon. At the airport, not being inside the airport, guys. I was on the tarmac where the planes were landing. I was 5 years old. I had my two younger sisters with me and my youngest brother, who was only 3 months old at the time. And I remember it was a gray day. It was kind of drizzly, kind of rainy. And I could hear the shooting, the bombing, the gunshots around us as a 5-year-old kid. And they were fighting on the streets already because it was just a day before the end. So the Viet Cong and the North Vietnamese soldiers were already in Saigon, which was the capital of South Vietnam. They were shooting on the streets, and I just remember the war going around us at the time. And I saw these big black helicopters, gigantic, large helicopters. They were loud. We had no ear protection. It was very windy from the propeller, and we were just outdoors, outside on the tarmac. And these large helicopters would land in front of us. And the back of the helicopter would come down. And I saw groups of people running inside this helicopter. And they ran inside the back, and then the back would close up, and the helicopter would take off and fly away. And then I saw another helicopter would land, and groups of people would run into it, and it would take off. And these were big black helicopters. They were called Chinook Helicopters. I don't know if you guys remember that name, Chinook. They're like little pickles with two propellers on each side. And finally, there was a helicopter that landed about between 100 to 200 feet in front of us. Real loud from the noise of these big propellers, real windy. We had no protection in the outdoors. And the back would go down, and we were told to run into the helicopter. And so I was 5 years old. I grabbed my sister's hand. She was 3 years old. And we started to run toward the helicopter. And then my mom was with us. My mom held my other sister, who was 2 years old, in one hand, and my brother, who was 3 months old at the time. And we ran toward this helicopter. I ran to the back of the helicopter, and I saw a serviceman on the left side. He had his helmet on with a handgun. And inside the helicopter, it was empty. And there was 2 rows of seats. It was empty. So I ran into the helicopter, and I sat on the left-hand side, and I sat down, and I buckled up. And Iman, I was only 5 years old, but it was the first time ever that I felt a sense of hope when I sat down. And my family got in, and other families got in. And the reason I say it's the first time I've sensed hope, it is because the only memory I have of my childhood was the war. I remember sleeping underneath our beds. We never slept on top of our beds, because at night when I look outside the window, I would see flashes of light, and I knew they were fighting. And we were always afraid that the roof would fall down, that a bullet or something would hit the house and the roof would fall down. So I spent my childhood sleeping underneath the bed. And then there are other nights when we could hear the Viet Cong patrolling outside. The Viet Cong's like the enemy guerrillas at the time, and you can hear them walking outside. And so our family would go into a bedroom and we would huddle. And we were always afraid that they would break down the doors, come in and kill us. And I remember during the day, the sirens of where you had to go and hide under the bunkers when the sirens would go off. They're like bomb shelters. And my childhood was that. It was what I remembered. And it was why when I sat down in this helicopter and I buckled up, I felt safe for the first time. I had no idea who was rescuing us. I was only 5, but I knew I was leaving my circumstances. I was leaving this war. And so the back of the helicopter would go up, the Chinook, and the helicopter started to lift up, and it was very loud. And I couldn't hear anything. It was so loud. We had no ear protection, no earbuds or anything. But as the helicopter lifted up, I saw the city of Saigon around me, and the buildings and all that. And as the helicopter got higher, I saw the jungles of Vietnam. It was all green. And this helicopter took off and it went over the waters into the ocean. I had no idea. I just saw water below. I didn't know where we were going, where it was landing, but it landed on an American aircraft carrier. It was called the USS Midway. I don't know if any of you guys know the Midway or remember the Midway. It's the Midway, I think it's down in San Diego now. It's decommissioned. But I was a 5-year-old kid standing on the Midway on April 29th, 1975. And I was so appreciative that we were rescued by Americans, by the American military. It was like we were given a second chance in life. Our family was given a second chance, because I wouldn't know what would happen to us if we were left behind. But from the Midway, we took off on another boat, a smaller boat. We stayed on a transport ship, and we slept on deck on the transport ship, and it took us to the island of Guam back then, which was an American military boat. But from Guam, eventually we had a sponsor that allowed us to come to the United States. So I came as a Vietnam refugee boy. Our family was given a second chance. And what I do now today, as far as creating my own nonprofit, is because I've been given an opportunity from America, from Americans, from an opportunity to enjoy freedom, an opportunity to be educated, an opportunity to be successful. And because of that opportunity and how blessed we were as refugees from the war, this entire nonprofit that I started was a reason to give back. The health education I do, and I go out and I educate patients at no cost, is just a reason to give back. And just me coming to you, Iman, and connecting with this course that has allowed me to create my own courses online is a way that allowed me to be successful through these courses and the creation of these courses. You've given me the tools, Iman, to create a course that I can educate folks with. And it's really a stepwise ABC tool that was really simple to implement over time. And it's all about really just giving back now for me. Yes, I do monetize through the course at times, but I have courses that I do for free. And so that's kind of my background story of how I came to your course. It was a tool that allowed me to enhance what I was doing overall. And I don't know if I answered your question, but here I am, Vietnamese refugee.
You
Thank you.
certainly did. You certainly did. And I can tell you, like, obviously, like in the chat box, there were these, like, oh my God, like, we really appreciate you. And Dr. Donna was saying that you and what you have become was the reason we were fighting for. And
Thank you.
that's amazing. So thanks for all you do. Obviously, like, you go above and beyond and share far more than I've ever seen anybody does. So amazing. Thanks. Now, when it comes to, and by the way, like, I feel so blessed actually hearing your story a little bit further, because I've heard many of your stories, but I hadn't heard this one. And I feel like really blessed for all the things you do. And so let's actually talk about one thing that I'm always amazed with you. You are on about 200 radio show, podcasts, events, stages, TV shows every year. And you kind of like these come to you like as if, like, I mean, there is one magnet in the world for radio shows and podcasts, and that's you. And they like come all over the place, like kind of like put you on, like, I don't know, 4 TV shows in a month or like whatever, right? It's things that people work so hard for years to get on. You're just constantly on them. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, how do you attract so many stage times and shows and podcasts and TV shows and all of the things that that you're featured on them as an expert, which obviously become great source of clients to come to your courses and all the things that you do in your businesses. So tell us a bit more about that. How do you do that?
Hey, this is Iman Aghay, and you are listening to the Course Creation Show. Now, if you haven't gotten the book for Ultimate Course Formula, I highly recommend to you to go to ucfbook.com and get access to the Ultimate Course Formula book. It's very inexpensive. It's very easy for you to get access to it. All you need to do is go to ucfbook.com, that stands for Ultimate Course Formula, and get the book. Okay, now back to the show.
Definitely. I two things: give value, number one, and create win-win relationships, number two. So we all have something that we are, quote unquote, maybe an expert in, right? You don't have to be a certified expert. You know something, and I know something that goes beyond what others may know. So for example, as a physician, I know healthcare, right? I know about coronavirus and COVID and things of that sort a little bit more than others. And everyone here on your, in your summit today, we all have a special vault of knowledge, a content vault that goes beyond the average person. And what I do, and you can all do this as well, is that we go and we offer this content. We offer this knowledge. I offer healthcare knowledge. You may offer business or marketing, whatever it is, right? We offer this knowledge. And when I do it, I go and I offer it at no cost, at least initially, right? I'm going out there just to give content to those who are interested in it. Lately, every week, right, I go on and I update folks about coronavirus, right, about the pandemic, and because that's something that folks want to hear. But the content that I offer are content that's genuine, they're content that's updated, and they're content that's actionable. What can you do with the information that I've given you? And from that, if your content is good, those in the audience often will say, you know what, can you speak to my group? And I offer that often in my talks. I'm a public speaker. I like to educate. If you have an organization or a group that is interested in this message, shoot me an email. right? It's word of mouth. There's no, no major marketing or Facebook ads or things of that sort. It's the creation of relationships and providing good content. And what happens is if I go on a show and I give them good content and I let them know that I'm a public speaker, and if you like this message to your group, your organization, your church, your, whatever group you're part with, shoot me an email, and we can chat further. And it grows like wildfire. You have one good message, one good content in one good interview, and you send out your email, right? And you send them an invite, send me an email if you like this content and it's something that can provide value to your group, your organization, whatever club you're part of. If you feel can provide value, this is my email. Send me an email. So every talk I do, I get a few emails back. Can you speak to my group? Can you speak to my club? And I go and I speak. This is how I grew from a few lectures to now over 200 lectures in different organizations. And then what I do is once you have a great relationship with an organizer, I tell them that if this is something your group enjoy, I'll be glad to come and do it once a month for you guys. It can be in person or it can be online. And so throughout Orange County, I speak to at least 10 different senior centers, community centers, once a month. So now I have a schedule that is with them on a consistent basis. And if you find 5 organizations where you can provide a variety of content once a month, right? Or once a quarter, or whatever that is, right? It could be once a quarter, it could be twice a year. If you have enough content that you can provide maybe an hour every quarter, every month, whatever that frequency is, now you're on their show. This is how I expand. And then in the background, whatever you have, if you have a product, a service, whatever you want to pitch, you can do that. And if you have a course, you can pitch that as well. And that is exactly how I grow my speaking, ministry, I call it. And I do it mainly for no cost, because in the background, I may have clinical research, I may have courses, I may have different things that folks may be interested in that will monetize in the background. But if not, it's perfectly fine, because I give the content at no cost, because I just love education. Yeah.
That's phenomenal. That's fantastic. Thanks. And, sometimes people don't realize it can be that simple. And yet people make it very complicated. And, I've seen actually this, that people come to you and come to us and they're like, oh, yeah, you have been doing it for so long, so it's easy for you. And I can't do it. Like, I'm not a doctor. I'm not like blah, 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 right? And they have all these self-limiting beliefs that like everybody else can do it, but they can't do it. And what they don't realize is that all of us started from scratch. Like, yeah. You weren't born with having 200 talks a month or a year. Just kind of like, you just started with 1 talk at a time, and that became 2 and 3 and 5 and 10, and now you're at like these many talks, being everywhere and doing everything. So actually, another question, just as curiosity. Well, I know the answer, but I know that many of the audience members have this question, that do you still practice as a physician?
Yeah, great question, Deborah. I wear multiple hats. When I practice now, I no longer charge and bill. I do free consultations for patients. Because I'm an entrepreneur, I monetize in different businesses, on Amazon, clinical research in different ways. So I still see patients. I do it for free at no cost. If you're interested in that, shoot me an email, right? I do free consultations online, kind of like Zoom now. I am in the hospital once a week to admit patients, just because I really enjoy hospital work. And so I do that once a week. I'm in the ER admitting COVID patients and coronavirus and all that. So you don't want to see me there, Debbie, but I do see patients just through free consultations now. And I'll give you a link later if you wanted to consult or whatever for anyone.
Amazing, thanks. So, thanks. That's just a clarification there, right? So
Yeah.
now you have a course called the Trust course, right? Walk us through how you chose the topic and the target market for the Trust course.
Definitely. How many guys on our chat right now have been on the Trust course? I'm curious, or have checked out the Science of Trust.
If you're watching this show on YouTube, by the way, just go below in the chat box and let us know as well if you have taken the Trust course, okay?
Yes. So this course was very interesting. This course stemmed out of coronavirus. I continue to do a lot of lectures and weekly updates on coronavirus. If you guys are interested in my weekly update, just shoot me an email later. But from my weekly updates with coronavirus, the first thing I hear about is, I don't know if I trust, the CDC. I don't know if I trust what these people are telling me. I don't know if there's a lot of politics behind coronavirus. I don't know if I trust the World Health Organization. I don't know who to trust, Dr. Trinh. With all the information thrown at us every day about COVID, who do you trust, right? Who's telling you the truth without an agenda, without politics and all that? And I get that message almost every day from folks. And so I saw a need. I saw a need, and that need was a problem, the lack of trust. The lack of trust among folks in this pandemic. And so guys, when you create a course, that course offers a solution to a problem, right? And so the problem that I saw was a lack of trust about this entire pandemic, right? There's politics in it, and there's people promoting an agenda, and there's all these different things. I saw the lack of trust. It was a problem. So I created this course to try to provide a solution to that. And so I called it the Science of Trust. And through this Science of Trust course, I wanted to answer the question, can you actually establish trust? Can trust be something that is taught? Can trust be a science that is taught? Or is it just, some kind of emotional feeling, I trust you, right? And I believe that trust can be a science that is taught. And that's, from the years of taking care of patients, I saw the science behind how to take care of patients, how patients can trust in a doctor. And I put that, and I created a course out of that. And I followed Iman's, model 100%, right? And guys, if you guys do Iman's course and creating this course, 100%, just do what Iman says, right? And that was the model I followed when I created this course. It was a 6-week course. It was weekly. It was on Zoom, and I created a landing page, right? If you guys wanted to see it, you can see it later on this course. And the landing page, pretty much followed the model that Iman taught. And so when I created this course, it was 6 weeks. It was once a week or so. My target market was really the folks asking me those questions when I teach. How do I know if this is true? How do I know that the message I'm getting on coronavirus is true? How do I trust? How do I know if it's trustworthy? And so my target market was basically my audience, really, that had been questioning, is this something true or not true? And guys, your target market is going to be the audience that you interface with now, right? Whether you're in the business of marketing or the business of whatever your business is, real estate or whatever your entrepreneurship focus is, right? That is your audience, really. Those who are in front of you already. What problems are they having, right? What questions are they asking? And how can a course that you can create answer that? And so that's kind of how I came up with this course, Iman. It's really from my own audience on developing trust.
Perfect. That's amazing. And I really like the fact that how effective and how fast you did this, and right away got to the program and started adding value and started getting students. And I mean, even right now with this being recorded live, there are several people who have been in your program, in your course, and so that's great. And as you mentioned, like you followed also the ultimate course formula, the model, and certain things. And for anybody on the call who's watching this and you haven't, if you want to create a course and you don't have a mentor who can take your hand and walk you every step of the way so you can create and launch your course, you can go to successroadacademy.com/apply and fill in the application form, select the time, and then fill in the application form to get on the call with a mentor who will have a conversation with you about how one of our mentorship programs can help you to create and launch your online course. So make sure that you visit successroadacademy.com, book a call, and then get on a call with one of our certified mentors to have a conversation about how one of our mentorship programs can help you. Okay, perfect. So let's get back to the science of trust and how you actually created the program. Now, tell us a little bit more about like now that people are studying the course and they're giving feedback on it. So you're teaching the course live, is that correct?
That's correct. Live, with live interaction and chatting on Zoom and chatting through the chat box. 100% live. It was fun. Yes.
Right. And one of the things is that so many people are concerned about teaching their courses live because they think like, well, what if anything goes technologically wrong? What if something happens that I wasn't expecting? What if somebody asks a question that I don't know the answer, right? So actually, let me ask you this question. What happens if somebody asks you a question that you don't know the answer? What do you do?
I just tell them I don't know.
Right. I mean, like so many times people come to me and they're like, Iman, but what if somebody asks me some questions I don't know? I'm like, you just I don't know, but I can look into it for you and just tell you next week. And that kind of helps you grow. And they're like, well, isn't that bad? I'm like, no, you know. Okay, so actually I want to share here something with you. One of the biggest mistakes that people who are beginning make is that they feel they have to impress people. They feel they have to impress their potential clients. They feel they have to impress people who are looking at them, so they want to work with them at a deeper level. And here is the thing. What people want is a genuine person who actually gives them what they know, and tell them when they don't know something, you just tell them they don't know, and go figure out and share with them. That's as simple as that. I mean, if anything tech goes wrong, what happens? Nothing happens. Just you tell people that something technologically went wrong and we're going to fix this in the next 10 minutes, or we can't fix it today. It's just too complicated. We're just going to add another session to all of our sessions. So we're going to do another session at the end. Done. The person asks a question, you don't know the answer. You just simply say, well, I don't know the answer. And you can even ask the audience, does anybody know the answer to this? And somebody may know that, and you're like, oh, okay, that's fantastic. Thank you very much. As simple as that. And but then the thing is that when you put so much pressure on yourself, wanting to impress people and kind of go above and beyond, and like, and the thing is that we go above and beyond. We go above and beyond with honesty. We go above and beyond with like just showing up and saying it as it is, as opposed to trying to go above and beyond, but saying smart things that impresses people, but just kind of like is more challenging. Anyway, so I'm glad actually you also share that with people. That's fantastic. So here's the thing, we're almost getting to the end of our interview, and I always ask my guests one question. If you want to share your #1 success tip in one sentence, what would your number one success tip be?
My number one success tip is to always establish trust first with anyone you're working with potential clients, patients, collaborators. Establish trust first before you sell any product or services. The science of trust.
Awesome. That's fantastic, man. That's fantastic. Thank you very much. I know, let me see. I know that you have a gift for people, and it's called Health Talks with Dr. Trinh. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Oh, well, I was just going to say, if anyone's interested in, in joining me with my health education, it's all on Zoom. It's all on Facebook Live now. With that. So on Facebook, you can go to Health Talks with Dr. Trinh, and I have a show there that's weekly. It's also on radio, basically, when we're on OC radio, talk radio, and then we're doing a TV show as well on a regular basis. So you can go on there, or you can go on, or you can just shoot me an email. I can always. Or you can put your email. Let me put in my email if you guys have questions or concerns.
Also state, because many people are listening to this through a podcast, so they're not actually.
Yes,
actually, we can put that information for people in the description of the podcast, so people will get access to that as well. Okay, perfect.
Yes.
And thank you very much. It was amazing to have you here. It was amazing to have you on the show. And I look forward to seeing you soon at another event, seminar, conference, when the travels begin again.
Yes. All right. Well, God bless. And thank you so much. See you guys later.
Thank you very much. Thanks for everything that you offer. Again, if you're watching this training and you don't have a mentor who can take your hand and walk you every step of the way to create and launch your online course successfully, please go to successroadacademy.com/apply and fill in the application form to talk to one of our certified mentors to talk to you about how they can help you to create and launch your online course by helping you through one of our mentorship programs. Again, it is successroadacademy.com/apply, and I'll see you on the next episode.